Welcome to Common Conversations. Yeah, that's it. 2020 is behind us. It was crazy. It was all kind of new. And we know how to pivot. This is 2021. Let's get it in. And I want to have you on the show. Come podcast with me. Let's go live. Let's sit down and talk about all the good, the bad, the ugly, the green, the funny. Y'all know how we do it. This is Gelly Gale. This is Common Conversations. And I'm inviting you to come tell your story. Let's go.
Start it up.
Sure, I am. I'm Louwana Ball, and this is my awesome husband, Maurice Ball, affectionately known as Lou and Mo.
Let's go.
And we are the owners of 9-Round 30-minute kickboxing. A lot of people think it's a like a boxing training gym, but no, you don't actually. You get to all the effects of kickboxing without actually getting kicked or punched in the face.
Yeah.
All the effects without getting kicked or punched.
Yeah, you get gloves and stuff, okay. But you ain't squaring up on nobody.
No sparring, no sparring necessary.
Now, me and my son Isaiah, we put the gloves on and we spar.
Yeah,
y'all get down.
Yeah. They do that even at home though. So.
Yeah.
So when did y'all start?
So actually, we acquired it from a previous owner last year. So 2019 2020, it's just a blur. So we purchased it in March, literally right before COVID shut the world down. So we actually acquired it, but didn't get an opportunity to open until May, the end of May, right after Memorial Day.
Well, so part of our plan last year when we said that at the end of 2019, coming into 2020, we were looking like there was something that we knew that we wanted to do as businesses that we wanted to do. So in our planning and setting our goals, it was like, okay, we want to do yada, 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 we want to do da, 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 and owning a business was one of those goals. And so I came up with my homeboy does this property preservation company and dealing foreclosures and stuff like that. So I was like, yo, let's do this property preservation. It's not in a lot of overhead. We already got a truck. We already got the tools that it requires. Now we got to do is just kind of put some things in place. She was like, nah, I ain't feeling that. I'm like, okay, and we just trying to get money or are we trying to do something? I was just like, I was just trying to get money. But, and she was like, I don't want to do that. So I was like, all right, whatever you want to do, let's, whatever. And so she was looking at a theory initially because she was a member at Orange. But then, okay. So, and we'll edit that part out. So the Orange Theory can scratch that. So there was another.
Just keep saying it.
So what ended up happening?
We don't talk about
She started just research, and then there was a couple of options on the table, and then the other option was an option that we were going to look at in Jeff, the new space down there, other space and then she researched, and then this one came up, and then she was actually looking at over in Louisville. Go ahead. So I told my part. My part was.
Where are you going with this story?
The
conversation, but
my part was we knew that we wanted to do something.
you're gonna have to edit a whole bunch.
Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna go sit here and be quiet.
So we know that Mr. Ball got in the game for the money.
For the money.
He said, let's get
that
money.
Right.
So we know that people like to fight. We in Southern Indiana, they scrappy. Let's get money.
Let's get it.
There it is. All right. But your story.
Right.
We've been married for a long time, so it's always two sides to every story and every marriage. So anyway, but it's all good. That is a part of the story for sure. But at the end of the day, we wanted to do something that we were also, more passionate about, right? So, it's it's a lot being an entrepreneur. You put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this, even if you're not, in the business full time, which we both still work our full time jobs. But, it requires having some passion, behind this because, it's a lot of, time and financial resources. So we really wanted to look at something that we were already doing. There is another concept that I was very, very, very kind of bought into that was not in existence on this side of the river. So we wanted something that was like a really easy concept, didn't require a ton of overhead, didn't require a ton of space and staff to run it. So, I started doing a lot of research on a couple of different concepts, and 9Round, actually what ended up happening is in looking, I said, wow, I would love to have something similar to a 9Round, but it was already one over here. And then after doing a little bit of research, found it was for sale. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we wanted to just
And
create
the timing
legacy.
at that
The
time was
timing,
right.
Yeah, and
Pre-COVID.
part of the plan and goal was create legacy for our son.
Yeah,
something
absolutely.
that that we can raise him up in understanding business and so he can have options. It's okay to go and work for somebody. It is. It's okay, but at the same time, know that there's another option on the table that if you wanted to be exposed to this, you can.
And so businesses are closing, restaurants are closing because
Crazy.
people got the Walking Dead. And how do y'all survive this? Like, how do y'all, in a brand new business, open doors that technically can't open because of pandemic and civil unrest?
I'll speak to the civil unrest. I mean, I was front lines with you on a lot of that stuff that was happening over the summer, and we know how to separate the two. The civil unrest, my belief and what I stand for and what I believe when it comes to that, I never brought it in here because of one. I mean, when we had just opened and we had just taken over and we were still trying to fly under the radar. But I let those two be separate. My life outside of here was separate, so I didn't bring anything in because we are in Southern Indiana, and it could have been damaging to the business because of the ethnic support is not here. Like if we was in a more concentrated area with more minorities where we could pull in more of the minority business, then I think our stance and what we believe we could have been more visible and more vocal from a business standpoint. But from that I don't really, there were some times that they closed everything in this area. But from the civil unrest, I'm gonna stand up for what's wrong. And if now I really don't care if you believe, what you believe or what you believe about me and what you think about me, because at the end of the day, God is our provider, and we don't, I just, at the end of the day, He's gonna provide for us, and so that's what I get from the civil unrest. We need to be a voice. We had to ruffle some feathers. We had to be out there front lines. You was front lines. We had to get down there and be heard. And the first time I went down there, I knew I was going down there. It was right after the riots, right? I mean, like the next day. And I didn't tell her this or my son this, but I knew that I was coming down. If my life ended that day, I was okay. I went down there. I made dinner. We hung out. We took some pictures. But in my mind, I'm saying this could be it right here. And so I went down because of that. I mean, I went down because at some point it has to stop. And if it meant me losing my life in order for somebody else or my son to have justice, then I was cool with that.
And so definitely from a social awareness perspective, he was much more on the front lines than I was. But, our business, we were vocal in where we stood. Obviously we're a Black-owned business, right? So Black Lives Matter to us,
Right, for sure.
for all obvious reasons. And you know what? what we did voice about it, I think I'm thankful that our members were supportive. They know we own the business, right? They know we're Black. We're not hiding in the shadows. And actually what it did is it gave us an opportunity. You know, we have a diverse staff, and it gave us an opportunity to have some sensitive conversations. Even we have some young people that are on our staff. So it gave us an opportunity, honestly, to be a safe space to have some uncomfortable conversations. And even, you know, our manager, who's amazing, you know, she's a young white girl.
She was
but
front lines.
She was front lines
Yeah.
in several of the protests in Louisville.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think us being, not that she wouldn't have done it anyway, because we didn't necessarily encourage her one way or the other, but I think it gave her a level of freedom as well, because we were showing support of what she was offering, and it wasn't even, you know, it wasn't surface. Like, she legitimately was out there more than I was, honestly. So, you know, but from a survival perspective, from the business, it has been tough. I mean, just like most of the businesses around, Black owned or otherwise, I do think that our businesses have an even lower survival rate at a time like this because of lack of resources. But I am thankful that we partnered with the city of Clarksville, was able to get a grant. We were able to get early access to PPP. And thankfully you know, we had everything in alignment. So, you know, the forgiveness we haven't filed for all of that yet, but should not be an issue. And we do plan to get the second wave of PPP to continue on. But, you know, realistically, it's tough. I mean, we did lose business, but not because of civil unrest. We lost more so because of COVID. Yeah, I mean, honestly, well, I can quickly say what we lost was comfort, right? Like, you're not very comfortable when you're trying to figure out how to make it all work, right? And especially for us buying a franchise, you buy into a business model, right? And in the middle of that, we're talking about March and April, still having bills that have to be paid associated with the business. And we had to adjust. So what we gained was our ability to be creative. You know, we had to think outside the box. We had to create a new, our trainers were not accustomed to doing online workouts. We're doing Zoom workouts for members. You know, we had to figure it out. So, I mean, honestly, I think it brought us all together. And actually, the team got closer.
Made them more creative because they're young. Yeah. You know, and this is some of their, like, they probably got to have maybe one or two other jobs, but for the most part, some of them are still in college or recently graduated from college. So the work experience. So to be able to push them out their comfort zones, to have them to have input, and I think what it did from a good standpoint was it gave them ownership. So it gave them buy-in, and they had to, you know, it was like, if this is going to be successful, it's got to be a joint effort from all of us and not just us, you know. So to see some of the creativity come in, and see our young trainers blossom into these just break that shell of what they were used to, and see them being a little bit more assertive now. Yes, we want to keep pushing them to try to be as best as they can, but to see during this time, to see them all come together and be like, hey, we got to make this thing work. It was good to see.
Dope. So, a little different, right? So if you were to look back at 2019, prior to making this purchase, prior to saying, you know, because the world was booming.
Right,
you know,
right.
Yeah.
Life was good.
Life is good. We're in Trump country.
You can have
People
over
spending
50
money
people
like
in.
it ain't no tomorrow.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, 2020 comes and there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Record scratch.
Right, there is no, right,
Yeah.
right.
There was a time where you say, you know, when your parents used to say, go outside, because going outside ain't going nowhere. going outside did go somewhere.
Yeah.
So you can't go outside like that anymore.
And and y'all started a business that requires people to be a part of it.
Yep.
Right. So would you have, if you could go back to 2019, would you tell yourself something different than what you told yourself in 19 prior to doing this?
Yeah.
for sure.
What I would have told us is we probably wouldn't have bought it.
Okay.
At when we bought it. Not saying we wouldn't have, but it
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
Timing is everything. And the timing could
I'd be
not
like,
have been worse, right?
hold on to like September, August, November.
But timing is crazy because who thought that, I mean, I know us. We were just like, okay, if we can just hold out a couple of weeks, a couple of months, then a couple of months turn into 6 months, which
now we're a year into this thing.
Yeah.
Almost
So-
a year for us as far as ownership, but a year into the pandemic as well.
Oh, trust me, we had to laugh, end of March when everything shut down and we're like, really, God?
Yeah.
Like, for real? Like, that's what you're going to do with us? Like, after we put the money on the table, right?
Yeah.
Like,
You couldn't have not done it in February.
Right. Exactly. Where we
But what that also did too was it gave us a greater trust and dependency on that God will provide. Now, it's not cliche-ish for us. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like it is definitely something that when you got people that have to pay to come in here, we have to trust that God is able, and He showed Himself strong. So all jokes aside, he has been faithful, and that's the reason why we're still open. To be honest.
So when you think about mindset coming into 2021, right? Pandemic isn't gone.
Right.
Civil unrest isn't gone. Matter of
right.
fact, we might even have a revolutionary war right now.
Right, exactly.
Black people.
Right.
Black people that stormed the
Exactly,
Capitol.
right.
And so every capital across the country now has armed
We're boarding up the doors from them now.
Yeah. We just sitting back watching. We're gonna see how this thing play out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do you plan 2021 and identify, a level of success that keeps you in the game?
Yeah, I think what you asked before about, what do we gain from that? Like, now we can go into this planful, right? Like, we already know that there's a period of time where we're not going to get that typical right after New Year's resolutions, flooding the gyms. Everybody knows. That's what happens in the gym world. So, we didn't get that. And, but we didn't expect it either. So we had to really kind of plan ahead. That's what business is about. Like, if you're in this thing for the long haul, you gotta
forecast.
Yeah, you gotta go ahead and forecast. You gotta make sure your business plans are in place. So that's a lot of what we did. Is now we're prepared that if for some reason we do have to shut down again, we already know. In fact, our company, our franchisor, like completely revamped our online workout platform. So now it's state of the art. Whereas before it was literally like, here's a camera. Like, we're just in the we just got cameras propped up on, it is what it is. So, we're much more prepared, really from a tactical perspective of how we can, get around some of those obstacles that we were not at all prepared for.
Okay. Let me shift you a little bit because we talked pandemic, challenges being there. We are in Southern Indiana. We're not going to go into too deep of what that means being here. But this is the B.O.B series, Black-owned business, right? And there are not a lot of Black-owned businesses in Southern Indiana. And there's not a lot of Black-owned businesses where the owners will come out and say, hi, we're Black-owned. Mm-hmm. Have you seen a shift or a trend changing here in Southern Indiana, specifically about being Black-owned? And are you seeing more Black businesses work with Black consumers in our market?
I'll let him jump in for sure, but I can say from my own, knowledge, like not just being a Black-owned business, but what network of other Black owners are there, other Black-owned businesses in Southern Indiana, and I'm not even aware of who those business owners are. So, not just outreach to Black consumers, but even just networking amongst each other. And as we're learning of resources, like I said, I wish I knew of other, when I got word of the grant that was available in Clarksville, if I knew of other Black-owned businesses, I absolutely would have run out, hey, here, they're giving money away. Make sure you get your applications in, because some of those things happen at a drop of a dime. It's not a lot of time, a lot of lead time in it. And so, so no, I don't think that there's been a tremendous shift as much as I'd like to see. I think sometimes we get kind of pulled in, Southern Indiana kind of gets pulled into what Louisville is doing. And Louisville may have a lot of that going on, but not so much to me on this side of the river.
Yeah, I can agree. Like, honestly, I only know a couple of Black-owned businesses, and I honestly don't know how well they're doing. And but from a perspective of people knowing that we're Black, I think I can say that I think now our base is accepting of it. And before, like, I used to tell, like, when we first bought it, I was like, put yourself up on the website, put yourself, and she was like, no. And she held off. And
I mean, there's reasons for that, right? So, we've talked about this, Miguel, that, kind of what you're alluding to is, how do we drive a perception to people that don't look like us, right? That they will come and support us more, because there's another perception within the Black community that we don't support each other, right? So how do we survive? Well, we have to survive by getting other people outside of our community to be engaged with our business. And sometimes the non-colored people, I'm saying it that way, the non-people of color, don't always, once they realize that, especially in this area, when they realize that this person is this is an owner, so they're going to benefit from your resources, right? That they tend to pull back a little bit. But to Maurice's point, we have had tremendous support, and I'll say that probably a majority of our membership here is non-people of color, right? But he's definitely much more visible on our social media. I am on our website as the owner. We're both on Google as the owners, and we did that not just because of what was going on during the summer, but to let people know and to let people of color know that this business is Black owned.
Yeah, and I think that one, quality service trumps a lot of that.
Right, absolutely.
So we pride ourselves on have a quality service, and so we make sure that we do everything in excellence, and that we try to keep everybody in mind. So, but we also want to be a model for those who don't think that they can. I mean, I posted it on Facebook in this group I'm in, this Black Fathers group, and the response was like, yo, can we talk to y'all? We want to do this and we want to do that, and man, what did y'all have to do, and the steps, and and I pulled out some sustainable relationships, because I just posted something. Hey, y'all, look, we ain't trying to brag on the stuff that we have or what we're done, but what we're trying to do is we want to be an example so that people know that you can come out here and get it. It ain't
and an option. We want to be an option for your workout. Right? Yeah, we own the business, so we want people to know. But we've had several of our friends that it's like, oh wow, you guys own a. I mean, we've been in business for a long time, so this isn't even the first business that we've opened. This is the first franchise we've bought into, and so I think that kind of, to some may bring a little bit more of a credibility of your business, right? Because it's not just like a mom and pop type of operation. But at the end of the day, I mean, you still got to do the same steps, whether you are a single private owner, you own a franchise, any of that stuff. So, we love to be mentors to other entrepreneurs, share our story, share our journey with anybody, But, got to be willing to put in the work. And
share information. I think that's one of the things that Black community don't do is And if you know me and if you know me, you know that I don't have no problem opening my resources up to anybody. Holler at my man. You need video? Holler at my man again. That's what he does. You know what I'm saying? Like I am my network is open to anybody who needs something. And I think that's one of the things that the Black community struggle with is being able to share resources so that everybody can come up. It's like I want all of us to come up. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you giving me the platform, even on the casual conversation, because it was an opportunity. You extended a platform that I didn't have, and even this is a platform that we didn't have. And so to be able to, I mean, we appreciate it, man. We just like we want to be able to get into the pool and say we all can come up.
I think we've had some sidebar conversations about that in the past, right?
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
that we have to come together with like-minded, people of color that want to see our communities elevate, to want to see our businesses elevate, to want to see our economic status elevate, that you start to see not just, businesses being open, but generational wealth being developed, right? And we can do it if we just, we take advantage of these types of opportunities. So we are thankful.
And then we gonna see if Tia gonna work out.
Okay.
They're answering all the questions I had in my head. And I'm trying not to therapize this whole thing. Don't ask a therapy question.
So
Yeah.
If we walk away in this conversation, right, we think about 19, we think about 2020, we're in 2021, life is still life. Life has changed drastically for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And everyone's looking for that dime that says this is how you be successful.
Yeah.
If there are 5 things that we could walk away in this conversation that you could leave viewers about being successful, what would it be?
5.
One is, and this is the main one, our success is not based on us. We are committed to God's plan and trusting that God has a plan and that He knows what He's doing. So I think that's number one, being able to trust that He's able and that we're not here on our own accord. And 2, I think being able to take chances and take risk, some calculated chances, some calculated risks, some non-calculated chances, some non-calculated risks. You have to have your finances and
Yes.
your finances and your credit in
Yes.
place. It's not something that you could be liquid, but your credit may not be good, or you may have the credit, but your liquid may not be good. So being able to have those two to talk, because if you're going to do anything, sometimes you got to float somebody else's money. And
that's a whole nother series
that it is.
that you need to do as a part of the B.O.B series or some other series, but financial,
I think
is a whole nother.
I would say find mentors, talk to successful people. It may not be in your field, but have a group of people that you can have a sounding board with, that you can throw ideas off of, some accountability partners. And 5, I say have fun. I mean, that would be my 5.
We got
it's
different 5. I guess we got different 5.
No, I mean, but yeah, then I think just let it be fun, because the moment it becomes stressful and it is no longer fun, then it becomes work. And I mean, it takes work to get it, but I'm saying like, dang, I gotta go to the.
Look, okay, so that is true, and I know I'm not trying to say that's cliche. It's a lot of work, y'all.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. So you got to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to do it. It don't just happen just because you wish it will happen and you pray it will happen, because faith without works is dead. That's
sure.
the word. Okay,
For sure.
so. You got to be willing to put in the work for sure.
You got to put some feet in this
and have some stick-to-itiveness, right? You got to be able to persevere. in the midst of trials that come. And that's even without a COVID. That's even without a pandemic. That's even without civil unrest and a crazy, political system that we're in right now with everything going on. Like, you got to be willing to stick through it because you're going to have up days and down days. So, yep. And then all of everything else that he said. So 7 instead of 5.
Right.
I like 5'5" because
That's a round number.
It's an easy
7 is
concept.
perfection. Oh, come on.
I've got that feeling rushing through my body. I know that it is here to stay. It's like you're my personal Illuminati. I know that some might say that I am just a bad girl, but if you treat me right, I will be the best girl in this whole world. No, I'm not gonna fight. I got my hands on your body.
Start it up.
Yo, this your boy Gelly Gel, and welcome to Common Conversations. Yeah, that's it. 2020 is behind us. It was crazy. It was all kind of new. And yo, we know how to pivot. This is 2021. Let's get it in. And I want to have you on the show. Come podcast with me. Let's go live. Let's sit down and talk about all the good, the bad, the ugly, the green, the funny. Yo, y'all know how we do it. This is Gelly Gel. This is Common Conversations, and I'm inviting you to come tell